Good morning and welcome to the dialogue on Soul TV this morning. My name is Prince Apollo. On the show, we reflect on matters of national importance, especially those major events which made the week. The panel is set, but we will focus on the national budget, which was read this week on Thursday, the 72 trillion national budget, focusing on monetization of the Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. His Excellency the President, through the Minister for Finance, read the budget with optimism that the economy will continue to grow and actually grow 10 times in the next 10 years. But another highlight of the week is the public outcry against the newly rolled out traffic rules. And we are talking about the automated express penalty system rolled out by the Ministry of Transport together with the Uganda Police under the Intelligent Transport Management System, which was issuing penalties to errant motorists. And the protests and the backlash it attracted led to a decision by the ministry halting the policy for at least 1 month. The motorists and other stakeholders were complaining that this system have been rolled out hastily or in a hasty manner without considering some serious issues. The issue of speeding, the issue of violating red lights and zebra crossings became a serious challenge to motorists. We will dig deep into that policy, and on the show this morning, I am profoundly honored to introduce to you Dr. Gerard Wazala, a public policy researcher, but also an associate lecturer at Uganda Management Institute. Let me first hear from you, Doctor. How are you, and good morning?
I'm all right. Good morning, Apollo. Good morning, my colleagues in the studio. I'm happy to be here as always, and greetings to everyone who is with us and who is going with us for the next 2 hours.
Sure.
A special appreciation to my people in the United Republic of Chirinya, and of course from the mountains of Namisindwa. You forgot to introduce me as this gentleman,
the road safety
primate, because we are partly responsible for the noise.
Sure.
Which happened this week, but let me leave that for the coming.
Richard Waguma, a strong advocate for road safety. Happy to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
You must be smiling. This is a topic you've been yearning to have it tabled on this platform.
Yes, and thank you. And I thank you. I also thank management. I think everybody should come on board. But first to the Almighty, that despite the everyday death on the roads, for us we are still here. We are alive and can come. We are all potential candidates. But for now, thank you, Lord, that we are here and we are alive. Greetings to our viewers. Thank you very much. And our listeners too.
Sure.
Who stay with us, who go with us, and who support us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Richard. Richard Waguma is a veteran journalist, but also a communication expert. Dr. Daniel Rugalama is a staunch Pan-Africanist.
Sure.
But he is also a lawyer by profession. Happy to have you on the show and back in action.
Thank you so much, Comrade Apollo, and a very good morning to the management of Salt Media and our esteemed viewers. I want to say that I'm happy once again. The other time when you invited me, I was away. I'm going to see Comrade Maduro, President of Venezuela.
Wow.
And I passed via Barbados, that Iron Lady. You must have seen her talk.
Yeah.
And that is now a story I'm going to tell another day.
Wow.
But most importantly, what has got my attention this week, as prophesied again by Professor Geoffrey Sanchez, the Zionists in Israel have attacked the Republic of Iran.
Oh.
So yesterday we were at the Iranian embassy to pay courtesy call to the ambassador and show him that the Pan-African fraternity is behind him, like all sober-minded people are. And finally, the budget was read, and I believe since it is a subject for discussion this morning, we are going to have a say about it. But finally, is what my two colleagues have been cooking. They call it road safety.
Yeah.
Whereby if somebody is wearing a helmet, somebody is supposed to be wearing a helmet in a vehicle. At least some of the receipts that have come up were indicating that, and I think I'm here to have them for breakfast.
Sure.
If that is what they came up with.
Thank you. Wearing a helmet in a vehicle? I don't think so. Anyway, this is the dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. Let's kick off the discussion with the national budget. And I will seek a comment from each one of you about the national budget. It's good that we receive this budget like more than a month before its reading, and we internalize it. We have all the details. So, Dr. Wanzara, just a comment on the budget that was read, 72 trillion shillings budget. And but let me first hear from Richard before I come to you. What did you pick from the budget read by the maverick Matia Kasaija?
No, money has come. Yeah.
Money has come.
Money has come. The man told you money is coming. And money has come.
And the economy is?
So what the economy is?
Yeah.
So what it is? But closer home.
Yeah.
I'm glad that our campaign on tobacco taxation yielded some result.
There were new taxes.
And still, they are not meaningful in my
imposed
view.
on tobacco.
They are not meaningful in my view because we had spent more than half a decade without increasing taxes on tobacco. So even if you increase marginally now, you still haven't covered for the inflation and the whatever. But at least we reminded the sleeping giant called the government that here is money you can tax, and this is an evil product. So that one. The second one is on alcohol. There is still gerrymandering by the technocrats in the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade.
There were no new taxes on alcohol.
No, certainly you cannot tax without taxing alcohol. Either you lower the tax or you increase it, but you tax.
Yeah.
So there was.
I think they even relaxed.
So that's semantics. So there is a lot of semantics there. So that's why I call it gerrymandering. I think they are, and I keep insisting. One of the commissioners was saying he doesn't want to meet me because I call them criminals. But I think there are some criminals in the Ministry of Finance and in the Ministry of Trade who connive with these people,
the brewers,
who are really having that product is a sin product. That's what they are called in economics. It's a sin tax. Sin taxes are not kind. So I think that's criminality. So I think there is still criminality around the taxes for alcohol, and I saw that. I noted that in my view in the budget. And I think finally for me, I think you have a very successful government or leadership which puts the budget amount very high. We are not going to realize it.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years, we have not realized our budgeted tax collection.
True.
There is nothing that shows that is going to happen. Nor have we achieved our budget projection. But it's a good thing. It's very useful if you have to have the 3%, which you can use outside the law.
Without
I think it's within the law, yes, but without approval of Parliament. Of course, it's within the law. So I think it would be nice even to put the budget at the 100 trillion. Oh, yeah. But otherwise, there are some very good things in the budget, and there are some particularly very ungood things.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard. And Dr. Wanzara, you analyze the budget, and from the outlook, it paints up a rosy picture of the economy, and it gives hope that that, like he said, money is coming.
Money has come.
Hey. What is your general comment?
Apple, I think...
Especially now that the president has re-emphasized we are no longer a least developing country, or least developed country.
Yeah, I think if you look at the statistics, I have to repeat what the president said, and you look right now at a macro level, they are believable. That you can say with some economic growth going on, and the data we are being showed about the size of the GDP, probably I could believe that we are in the lower middle income status, which is just slightly above. That does not mean that we cannot slide back, because there are countries that can go and also slide back when factors are not favorable. Sometimes when the population is growing very fast, faster than economic growth, these things happen. You can see the reverse. Just like Richard has said, I saw in the budget speech, the expenditure turnout for this financial year ending is estimated to be at 51 trillion. We passed a budget of close to 72 trillion. So we had a deficit of how much? That's almost 9%. So what he's talking about budget performance. So if you put a figure very high to look big, but you don't know where you're going to get this money, and at the end of the day, you realize very little. I think if there is a difference, a deficit should narrow. Not you deliberately putting the budget so high. Then the other is what I saw. We are seeing the campaign budget continuing, which started with the PDM about 3 years ago. I saw in the budget speech that about 45% of PDM funds have gone to agriculture, crop production, 35% to animal production, and then a certain percentage has gone to poultry. How about those who received the money and married wives? I have not seen that, but the people are...
You want it to be reflected in the...
Yeah, because we don't have to deceive. If you go to my place and you do a sample, you will see that those who promise are going to buy a heifer, they are going to buy... They don't have. If someone projects to buy 4 piglets, they have maybe 1 or nothing. That's the reality. Then the other is, of course, the issue of the theme. The theme is so big. You see, socio-economic transformation cannot only be heard, but can be seen. If you look the past years, as the government was showing, there's some changes which have taken place. If you go to my place, I have in my small town council, I have National Water and Sewage Corporation offices. There's tap to water. The problem is that while there is a gravity water scheme and many people cannot access this water, it just brings air. No, it talks about the nature of projects we make. We borrow money, invest heavily in water projects, and then it is translated into the national statistics. But down there, the offices are there, people receive bills, but they don't receive water in their homes, even with the taps. So it is something government needs to check. Now, the efficiency of government, we can talk about all of this. There are projects, if you go to government budgets for the last 3 years, you'll find them there. Like if you go to Ministry of Agriculture, you'll find there on maybe oil seed projects in Elgon, in Karamoja, and what. But we procure loans, and then procurement takes over 3 years because for kickbacks. By the time they send a contract solicitor looked through, sometimes you assume like that there are no staff at the office of the Solicitor General, because a contract of something that is urgent, which is transformational, is going to spend there months. Just if you gave a lawyer, a committed lawyer like our colleague Dr. Ugaramaria, to review a contract in a week, how
it doesn't take much time.
Exactly. So while we are optimistic about this, government needs to seriously examine how they are delivering services, the efficiency. Can we really improve?
Thank you. I think that also speaks to another concern of project delays, where you have a contractor on site, then there are delays in either financing, and the contract is running. He's meant to receive money even without work being done.
And according to CSBAG, Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, they have the information, statistics on the loans we have procured, and the money sitting there because we are not ready. We delay them deliberately, or we are not prepared. The value is about 16 trillion.
Perhaps that's why the public debt is growing every day. Comrade Rugarama, the budget, like I said, paints a rosy picture. What is on the ground? How do you compare what is on the ground and what is reflected in the budget?
Comrade Apollo and my brothers here and our esteemed viewers, my concerns rotate around the following. Uganda's economy is projected to be a 500 billion
dollar.
Is it a dollar economy?
Yeah, in the next 10 years.
In the next 10 years. I think Nigeria is a 500 billion dollar economy now. Although, and it is our largest economy on the African continent. Although Nigeria, if they were prudent, they would be in trillion. It should be $1 trillion economy. Against the kind of budget and the subsequent, the previous budgets that we have had of, I think the last year it was 71. Now it has increased by...
It is now 72.3 something, 37.
72.3. And when you look at the flows, you see, the problem would not be the estimate. Well, the budget is real estimate. That we estimate, sorry, this is what we are going to achieve. When you look at the revenue collections, our own money here, which we say we are going to collect from our people who are doing business. Business itself, the cost of doing business in Uganda is high. Honestly speaking, the tax base, therefore, as a consequence, is also shrinked.
Yeah, shrinked.
It is not because the environment, the climate under which the business base should be growing is not that conducive. So, to imagine the projection of URA that they are going to collect well over 36.
Yeah.
Is it what?
Trillion.
When you have been collecting less than 29 for over
4
years, is it realistic that in the next year you are going to jump by over 9 trillion? And where are you going to get that one from? You see, some of these things must be looked at very... because you see, the people in Chukubo are closing their shops. Kasita and the group of these businesses are saying we are not going to do any importation, we are going to sabotage this economy. The transport sector is saying no, the roads are bad, you are heaping extra penalties on us. Now all that is compounding the circumstances under which business is done, therefore crippling the revenue generation. If that is the case,
I think, Comrade Rugama, the president talked about it. He talked about, I think something related to corruption in URA, that he is going to work on that within the URA. And again, people who do not pay taxes, to look at people who evade taxes, others who are outside the URA radar, to bring them on to see that the tax base is broadened.
that is fantastic.
Perhaps.
That is fantastic. But you see, our president will not do this alone. Our president must do this through institutions, through people he appoints to different offices. And when you look at Uganda as a case study, the number of institutions and the number of other offices, some which are not really official offices, through which corruption is fought, there are very many. But what is the rate of success of fighting this vice? Because when you again get like the office of the IGG, which comes up with these figures and talks about trillions of money being lost in through corruption, and it throws me back to what I had started building on, that the leakages within our economy, even when we budget, yes, you have budgeted, but how much? And I was listening to this brother of ours, Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda. We do not share any political affiliation, but sometimes even when somebody whom you do not share a political association with says something which is probably correct, you must be able to pick it up so that you use it to help you to improve. And he was talking about some of these monies which we have budgeted for and where it is going. You read the theme. Let's just go back to the theme. The theme is to the effect that they are emphasizing agriculture.
Monetizing
and commercialization of agriculture. How much money has been given to agriculture?
It's
less than 2 trillion, less than 2 trillion. Out of a 72.3 trillion budget. Now, are we being serious? Are we being honest that in a budget of 72.3 trillion, you have allocated less than 2 trillion, and yet the theme of your budget is commercialization, expansion, yet agriculture is supposed to be, I think, our number one when we are looking at where we intend to get the revenue. Although gold, I'm not sure that all that gold is ours. It is our number one earner, but wherever it comes from, at least we have got a claim on it. Now, my kind of conclusion on this is that my issue is that if we budget and the more than 30 or so % of that budget is money which we intend to borrow, and yet again more than close to 40 is money which we intend to pay out either in debts or debt servicing and that kind of thing, paying DRC
and salaries.
We are even not catering for the domestic areas, people who from whom we borrowed money as a government. We are not paying them, therefore crippling their businesses. There are musts as a conclusion on this, really, as far as the budget that has just been read is concerned. We must have the discipline to align what we put in the budget with the reality on the ground.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Comrade Rugama. I will implore you, Dr. Werihiri, to just speak about, just in 2 minutes, about the president's warning to politicians to stop using money in politics. He was talking about political corruption. For him, he said it is okay because he even has a budget of donations, and he's a modern day king. He can do that. But where are they getting this money? Just to emphasize the point Rugalama made, that we have also to look at how we do our things.
Yeah, I think in my submission, I mentioned something to do with the political budget, but I forgot to mention the comments, because for me it stood out, that comment of the president. And what stood out was when he mentioned it, I saw the members of parliament laughing, including some members of SEC, like Lydia Wanyoto, who were talking there, and they grumbled a bit. When he was talking about cautioning them not to bribe voters, not to carry the weight of the constituencies on their backs, because we have had here budgets passed. This year, I think, where they have reduced a little bit, the president has 140 billion for donations. These are the monies he gives the way he wishes. But we have some important areas like agriculture credit facility, where you get less than that money, targeting all Ugandans. You have money probably for a myoga, which they expect to transform groups in the countries, much less than that. So the president is not helping us by telling the members of parliament to stop. Ideally, they would not be bribing voters. But this cannot be solved by simply standing in Kololo and making such a speech. One, we need to avoid the present culture of giving money without accountability. Much of this money, people don't sign anywhere. They pick it and they go. It promotes a culture of corruption and then of patronage, whereby everybody in the country is sitting down cooking which concept to go, how to reach the president and get some money. Honestly, that's the beginning of corruption. Then the other is, we have had allegations of bribery, where classified expenditures are passed through budgets for security. Then MPs even admit that they received 100 million, which they did not put for themselves in the budget. Where does it come from? Then three, some of us in the civil society have always said that one of the major causes of corruption is campaign financing. Campaign financing, because we don't have any law that regulates fundraising for candidates, on what to spend, how they account after elections, and how to monitor this. We work together with the Alliance for Campaign Finance Monitoring to try to bring a bill, and we really wanted the support of the government, because it can help us. If you don't sell your house and you go to serve, then you don't expect to be bribed to make more money. Or we can even tackle it through electoral reforms. Why do we continue with this direct system if it has become a problem to us? It's giving us bad leaders at parliament, it's giving us thieves at councillor level, it is giving us. Why couldn't we adopt a system where we vote a political party, then a party appoints MPs to represent constituencies? Probably we will not have direct interaction, and the candidates will spend less, and people shall have leaders who serve us.
Thank you.
Now, lastly,
finally,
this was in response to what Ndugu Rugarama talked about. We are pretending that Uganda's economy has transformed so much, services, ICT, and so forth. But the government itself, in various documents, shows that agriculture still employs 64%, and it contributes 24% as a sector, 24% to GDP. And then we see that if you go in the countryside, almost everyone is doing that, including in smaller towns, which we call urban areas. All people are engaged. For us, we are saying that, one, we are importing so many things. Bugisu used to produce a lot of onions. Today, we are unable. Why? Extension services have collapsed. These agriculture officers at districts are staying in town because they don't have input. They only go to the village for a meeting once in a month, and then they stay in a town where waiting for salary renting. Why can't they be at sub-county level? They're not in the farms. We need to develop these value chains. We cannot bring factories from the blue. We need to begin with factories that can transform what we are producing into something that's marketable. And then lastly, the very last, 2 years back or 3, we passed budgets for cooperatives, and they were shared by some lawyers and members of parliament. a few were arrested, we no longer see them going to court. Now, how do we expect transformation, even if Honorable Matia Kasaija, you are to laugh and say the economy is going up? What are the building blocks down there to transform? Because transformation is not only about talking about it. We need to see changes in lifestyles. We need to see changes in economic structure on the ground. We need to see changes in so many ways, even including culture, how we behave.
Yeah, actually,
if you have a population that steals the food at a function and runs with it,
the discussion on cooperatives has died out. I don't know why. We no longer, I mean, we no longer think about the value they added on improving livelihoods of people. I don't know what happened.
And that is the challenge. Just a second on that. That is because the matter is still in court. Nobody has withdrawn that case. The people who are suspected, they are still in court. Just because the media has not reported that they are going to court does not mean that the matter has died. But of course, there is the public court. The public court is such that we want to see action taken. Because it is our money that was taken. To that extent, I agree.
To revive
but the most important, there is one aspect which Comrade Dr. Wanzara talked about that I want to just emphasize in a minute.
Just a comment.
And it is to the effect that now people have developed a culture whereby they run to the president because the president has got these envelopes. Yes, it is his right because he has got a vote. He's given that money and he can spend it the way he wants to, as long as at the end of the day, money has been spent. But because there is a chain of corruption down there, which they want to benefit from, they cannot say. So Dr. Wanzara, they are not going to sign anywhere because
that culture also promotes corruption. That's what he's saying.
Yes,
the culture of giving out brown
without
envelopes,
signing somewhere.
without signing and
Maybe
system of
Dr.
accountability.
Wanzara, then he will continue crying because he's not going to see that kind of accountability.
Comrade Waguma, just in one second.
That's why I say then we must stop it at that level of giving him
Comrade
a lot of money to give for free.
Comrade Waguma, in just 1 second. The president in the State of the Nation address promised us that in my budget speech I will address the issue of corruption. Did he adequately address himself to the issue of corruption, in your own opinion, of fighting corruption?
The president has a daily budget of more than 380 million for donations. Every day. The president's budget is more than 380 million for donations.
Every day.
Every day.
Can you imagine that?
What are you saying?
Yeah, you see.
You've heard.
What do you mean to say?
You see, Apollo, if you are given 380 million plus to spend every day, you will carry some of that money in a cocktail and give it to some youth in Usoga. Yeah. So the foundation of this starts from the planning, the budgeting, and the allocations. So when you therefore go to talk about the budget, when you are speaking at the budget speech, you will not be concentrating, and that's why you remember these off-cuff comments. That's why they stand out. You will not be talking about, that's the first one. The second thing is this pretense that we don't know that we are running a patronage system. And when he says, I am a modern king,
modern day king,
there is nothing modern about imperial kings. Imperial leadership and modernity are not the same. Modernity is democracy.
Yeah.
So once you are a king and the imperial approach, which is based on this system of patronage, then of course you are not modern.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. Viewers, you can be part of the discussion. Send in your comments and observations on 0701 909906, 0701 609 906, by WhatsApp, by SMS. Now we kick off the discussion on the new traffic guidelines which actually caused uproar and the public outcry that culminated into the suspension of the automated express penalty scheme. And we are talking about a serious matter of road safety, with fatalities in Uganda really skyrocketing. According to the statistics, the fatalities on Uganda's roads grew by 80.8% in just 10 years. 80.08% in just 10 years. And the real causes of road crashes and these fatalities: careless overtaking, speeding, and careless overtaking and speeding are the main causes of these deaths on Uganda's roads. But the Ministry of Transport, together with the Ugandan police, just 2 weeks ago rolled out an automated express penalty system penalizing errant road users, especially those who are overspeeding and others who violate the red lights. And just 2 weeks, the public uproar was so immense, and it was, the policy was halted. I will pick some few highlights, gentlemen, in the studio before we kick off this discussion. The concerns of the people of the sections of the public who express their resentment. They are talking about the speed limits being unrealistic. The speed limits being unrealistic. That's one. They also talk about the exorbitant fines. I read somewhere that some fines that were slapped at motorists were in the value of about 20%, the value of their vehicles. You can imagine. They are so exorbitant. Then they also talk about the inadequate road signs to show the speed limits in certain areas. They also talk about the inadequate sensitization of the public prior to the rollout of this policy. And if I forget, you will raise other issues, Gerard and the team. But we agree that whereas speed is one of the leading causes of fatalities and must be controlled, it looks like the project was hastily rolled out. Let me start with you, Richard.
Yeah. First of all, I am very proud to be associated with the road safety campaign in this country.
True.
I'm proud to be associated with the legal provisions, the amendments that were made to tighten the Roads Act and the Road Safety Act, and to punish the impunity that we have on the road. So that I am proud to be associated. I stand by those works. Yes.
Regardless,
I have no apologies.
The resentment and
no, I have no, and that's the resentment is not there. First of all, in my view, the fines, the 30 currency units, and you know it is the language. These fines of 30 currency units, 10 currency units were passed in the acts. They have been there.
Yeah, but the speed limits were not passed.
First, wait.
Okay.
you have talked about your problems.
People cannot easily interpret what a currency.
You see, this is the point I'm saying here. That these laws have been here. They were not implemented.
Sure.
That is one. So the laws have been here, passed by Parliament.
Until this
our own representatives. What happened is that the enforcement improved. Now you could not go and negotiate the fine. On the road you could negotiate the fine. Now you could not negotiate it. So people woke up actually to say, hey, so this is what the law provides, we are dead. Yeah. So it was the automation the improvement in technology. But these provisions have been there. That's the first one. So if the people in this industry had been awake, and this is the problem of a very sleepy population, if they had been awake, they would have been part of the enactment, because there is a lot of consultation that happens. But they would also have contested them at that time.
Yeah, but Richard, I talked about sensitization prior to the rollout of this
But I'm
new
coming
policy.
to that.
No,
But
no, I'm bringing it
because you talked
to your
about
attention right now. Do you agree that, or can you admit that, in your opinion, this project was given prior attention before rollout? People sensitized.
There's no project. There is no project. This is not a project. These provisions are provided in the laws that were passed by Parliament. So there is no project. Which project?
No.
The only thing that happened is that technology improved. That is all. I keep telling people that in the law, in this finance thing, because you see every budget, there is an amendment of the law every year. People even don't realize that. And now you are no longer having a NIN. I mean a TIN. You are no longer having a tax identification number. Now your NIN on the ID has become. That is going to improve enforcement. You will see an outcry. So yes, if sensitization is what you mean to say, please, you were dodging the tin.
We are now launching.
You were dodging the tin. Now they are going to catch you on your NIN. People will not wake up. It is until they get a tax bill based on their identity card that you will see them jumping. Well, yes, because you see, education is part of policy processes.
Yeah.
So it was inadequate. We apologize for those whoever may have been responsible. That is it. However, it doesn't take away.
At least you admit.
It does not take away the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is not lack of sensitization. The people who overtake in the wrong lanes, the people who jump the lights, the people who fly on the expressway. It says 100, and all the fly express minibuses are driving at 120, 140. They know that they are breaking the law. So if you tell me that all the people on the road who are not putting on helmets, the riders, don't know that they are breaking the law, then me and you have nothing to talk about. So let's not tell lies about sensitization. The people who drive, don't they know that they are supposed to put seat belts?
Yeah.
Is it the first time we are campaigning about seat belts? How come they still don't put them? It is now that the law, the camera can see that you are not putting on the seat belt.
So, Waguma,
and you will get. So we should not pretend that the breakers of these laws on the roads don't know. That's a lie.
So this resentment and public outcry is what you call pretense.
Is because we are so used to impunity. It has become a culture. So every time it's challenged, we push back. You tell me that the boarders who are taking every wrong turn and not putting on helmets, they don't know that this is wrong. But you start enforcing helmet, they will all jump and go to state house.
Let's talk about the speed limits.
So yes, so I'm coming to that. So what I want to first refuse and push back on is this claim that the people who are breaking traffic laws don't know that they are doing it.
You've made it.
No.
You made your position clear on that.
And so we move from there. So when we are breaking the law with knowledge, why should we not be punished? And punished severely.
Speed.
So let's go to the speed limits. The speed limits, by the way, Apple, that's where I agree on sensitization, were misunderstood.
How?
Because if you read the regulation, it clearly prescribes the areas that should have speed limit. It's what they call built up and heavily populated. It's hospitals, it's schools, it's markets. So where those things are not, then the speed limit is adjusted. So it's not on every road. You see the lies that people are telling. Deliberately, by the way, people are educated. That you see there is a speed limit of 30 on the northern bypass. Really? That's not true.
Yeah, northern bypass.
But if you are driving on the northern bypass, driving at 70, when I was coming this morning, I passed there and experimented. You drive at 70. We can go there after this program with you. You will see people quarreling with us. that we are delaying them. They want to drive at 100. So Apollo, I mean, really we must separate this. So the speed limits in some areas were wrongly enforced and misinterpreted. So that's not correct. It can be corrected. But overall for me, this implementation was excellent.
Implementation was excellent.
How would we have talked about it here?
When
would it have become a headline to come to talk about it?
The implementation was excellent?
Absolutely. It has generated the highest level of attention to a problem we have been fighting to talk about in vain. So I am glad about that.
You're glad about that?
Yes.
Did you say the speed limits were misinterpreted?
Yes, in some of
by the members of the public or the
people who are implementing?
Oh, the people who are implementing.
Yes.
Finally, from you, the concern of exorbitant fines.
But you see, exorbitant
for
about
speeding.
Exorbitant about what?
Beyond
this is where I'm going to have my problem. If you are supposed to drive at speed 100,
30 kilometers per hour.
No, speed 100 on the Entebbe Expressway. When you drive at 101 to 130, you get 200 shillings fine.
Surcharge.
200. But if you drive at 131 to on, you get 600. So it means you are more than 30 kilometers above the speed limit. So if the speed limit is 30 on which road? On Old Kampala Road?
No, Useful Way.
On Useful Way. If it is 30, for you to get 600, it means you are driving above 60. That's when you get 600.
No, let's talk about the minimum limit of
no, you are confusing it. You're confusing the speed and the fine.
There is 200. The first one is 200.
It means you are above the speed limit for one to no, not above 30. Above the speed limit.
Yes.
If the speed limit on the expressway is 100, it means you are driving above 100.
Okay.
If the speed limit, and that's why I want to educate you, and because now you are running away, and you want to go talk about something else. No, we shall remain with the miscommunication.
Yeah.
So if you are on here, your road is this one, Northern Bypass.
Yes.
The Northern Bypass says 70. When you are driving above 70, between 71 and 100, you are fined 200,000.
200,000.
If you are, wait.
No, wait a minute.
Yes.
Let's first talk about that 200,000.
Yes.
Is it appropriate?
Why should you be driving above 70? In the first instance, why are you driving above 70?
That's what I want.
So what is appropriate?
That's what I wanted to hear.
In fact, the speed, you should be fined 500.
Oh. So
that you don't go above.
Okay.
So 600 comes. I don't know. You see, this is the problem I have with media. You go and misinform and get away with it. I say we go. I should also say.
Okay.
By the time you get a 600,000 fine on the Northern Bypass, it means you are driving above 100. When the speed limit is 70, what are you doing? You should be fined, for God's sake.
All right. I think, Doctor, that is when you come in, because Comrade Richard insists that these guidelines are timely. These guidelines are, the fines are appropriate. Even the speed limits, even the enforcement was so perfect.
No. I said in some areas. Enforcement was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Start from there.
Apple, while posing a question to me, you were saying he admits there is a problem. Yes. I want to reinforce that there is a problem. If you look at the cost of road crashes, according to the study we have been privy to while discussing these things, we lose about 5 trillion every year due to these crashes, either death or post-crash care. People are maimed, they become lame, their heads are broken, they're in the hospitals, the families who are depending on them are suffering, children drop out of school.
Yeah. So
when you quantify all that, we lose about 5 trillion. So if you are to get a percentage of our GDP, how much a percentage is that? It is so huge.
Yeah.
The challenge that is there is that we have talked about the issues of behavioral change.
Yeah.
Because many police reports show that one of the leading actually cause of road crashes in this country is speed. If you look at the highways, the crashes involving buses, private cars, everyone is in a rush and doesn't matter whether it's in the corner where there's a sign of no overtaking. I see these signs, by the way, when I'm driving to the east. But most times you just have to withdraw and let people go because of behavioral issues. We have talked about alcohol abuse, driving under impaired mind because you are drunk. By the way, when someone is drunk, has a lot of courage to overtake from anywhere. So if you do an analysis of all these crashes around the urban areas in Kampala or upcountry cities, most crashes in the urban areas at night is because people are drunk.
Yeah.
That is the reality. And then the other is, so when we sat, we looked at the challenges that the country is facing, okay, in terms of, in respect to road crashes. We looked at border. We said, can we reduce probably fatalities? And with the reason Richard is, we have been pushing for regulations on wearing helmets. And then also the issues of child restraints in the car. Some people sit with a 2-year-old and put them in the co-driver's seat and they are speeding on the highway. You know that when you, in case of any knock somewhere, this baby can go through the windscreen. So the question is not whether, influencing this behavior through fines is necessary or not. It is absolutely necessary. Because if you go to countries that have improved in this respect, including our neighbor here, because if I talk about Europe or else, people will say you cannot compare with Uganda, but even Kigali here. We were in a workshop with Richard here in a meeting, a retreat, and then one of the representatives of drivers trucks said that for them, when they are coming from Mombasa and they reach Uganda, they say Uganda hakuna sharia. In English, it means Uganda does not have laws. When they cross the border, across the border to Rwanda, they respect speed limits. Why? Because punishment is heavy. Now, where the challenge has been is one, and this is something we have discussed in the boardrooms, inadequacies in financing for education on road safety. While when we were ticking the boxes after strengthening these regulations, we said one of the biggest problems, which we anticipated, by the way, was lack of education and the response from the people. Two, a good system like this one should be accurate, okay? If there are issues to do with inaccuracies, sometimes you can automate a system wrongly, because behind every automatic system, there is a human being that will input.
I'm sorry, my time is running out.
Yes. Okay, so let me just conclude.
Please.
So behind such automation, there are human beings. There could be mistakes in enforcement. That is why then this suspension and dialoguing is important, so that stakeholders can understand.
All right, the new traffic rules were suspended for 1 month, but the discussion goes on, and I think it is timely also to have these discussions, especially after that outcry, which Waguma says is necessary.
Absolutely. When would we have talked about this?
And the resentment.
You guys were comfortable. We're not talking about it. You are here discussing
the issue of exorbitant fines. Waguma still contests it. Then the issue of speed limits, which are unrealistic. He has not adequately addressed himself to that also. At least to me, the issue of...
But I saw people saying that 30 kilometers does not apply with the context of Uganda.
Yes.
So Kampala is a congested city.
They are saying the city is too congested with borders. The roads are narrow. The roads are full of potholes, and now you want them to travel on snail speed.
If you have,
let's go for a break.
If you have German potholes, how can you drive above that?
The discussion resumes. It is the dialogue. Don't go away.